Two-Gun Kitty, the catnip outlaw here, and today I want to do a review and overview thoughts on the Anderson lower receivers. Anderson's very popular, whether you love them or hate them, to build your AR-15s out of. They come in several varieties. You got the basic one, has their logo. They have another one that has no logo, and then they have a slightly upgraded one that has like an integrated trigger guard. And the biggest complaint people have with Anderson mowers is they'll say, oh, some of them don't have good fit and finish. And I wanted to put that to the test, and I did an extensive amount of builds using Andersons and other lowers. And my conclusion is, I think it's more the parts kits people are using than the Anderson mowers. The problems I would have would be with maybe the springs on certain brands of parts that people used. I noticed there was a couple of brands that it was consistently having issues with, like the rear takedown pin. That spring was too tight. As soon as you snip the piece off it or switch to a different detent spring, no issue. So someone may complain that it was the Anderson mower where it's their part kit. Another problem with some parts kits for the mag release area may not have had a smooth feel to it. But it was consistent with certain parts kits. So maybe those parts kits aren't cut to spec properly. And you put a different part kit in there and it works fine. So I think the value of the Anderson mower is great when you compare it to other brands. You know, I did high-end brands like Sharps, Sequence Position, Spikes, Aero Precision, Wilson Combat, 17 Designs, and Soda Arms, to name a few. So I did a pretty big cross comparison. The finish isn't bad, but it may not be as good as some of the upper end companies. I mean, that's fair considering the price point. I got to tell you though, the company I think is the worst is Spikes. Their quality control I found on their engraving was awful. A lot of their finish would often have blends. I think they were probably the worst value of any of the receivers I worked with. And they don't really offer, feature-wise, anything more than what an Anderson lower does, except you get maybe a pretty logo. So I think you can be confident to use an Anderson lower for a build. Don't let people shame you on it. They definitely didn't have any major issues. And it's not... Usually this one may run $5 to $10 more than the base Andersons to get that integrated trigger guard. But that's usually the biggest problem people have with putting a lower receiver together. So that helps out. But I think I might do another review going over different parts kits, ones that I liked and ones that I didn't. And, when you do that many builds, you do see a lot of trends. So I'm pretty confident to give, for the value, an Anderson lower, which they'll run anywhere usually from $35, $40 on sale up to a base price right now is about $60 to a high of $70. If you're paying more than $70, you're overpaying. I see at the gun shows a lot of people are still price gouging, looking for $80, $90, $100 on an Anderson mower. And I up in Wanamaker, I saw one wanted $170. But when you can get them down, especially in the $50 price range, very good value. Cabela's has them regularly, so if you're a Cabela's member and you rack up points, good way to get maybe a free lower, using your points. They're pretty much in stock all around right now, so they're easy to find, whether it be online retailers or local. I have a lot of local people that have them, so pretty easy to find the Anderson Lower. So I do recommend, if you're going to be doing a build, especially if it's one of your first builds, go with an Anderson. You don't have to worry if you mark it up or anything, because you're not investing a lot. Once you start to get into lowers that are $100, you start to be a little more worried about marking it up here and there. Biggest areas that you're going to have some marking is maybe when you're putting your trigger guard in. This area here when you're putting the bolt catch release, if you don't have the right tool. Those are probably about it. But the AR-15s, they're not going to be, safe queens. You're going to use them, so don't worry if you mark them up. They're meant to get tossed around a little bit. So definitely recommending the Anderson lowers. Don't let people shame you. Don't worry about, is it going to be an issue with the fit and finish. Buy a decent parts kit, put your investment into that, and CMMG makes a good quality, consistent parts kit. I recommend that, and give it a try. Build multiple ones and have fun. Two Gun Kitty signing off.